Today's topic is unfair trade practices. Before discussing those unfair trade practices, let us understand what is trade means. A process of buying and selling or exchanging commodities between buyer and seller is called trade. And here practices means any related activity to carry out trade is called practice. Fair practices means where a business adopt fair and ethical practices to carry out the business. Let's say using a good quality of raw material and charging fair price in the market are the example of fair trade practices. Then what is unfair trade practice means? It means a trade practice which for the purpose of promoting any sale, use or supply of any goods or services adopts unfair method or unfair or deceptive practices. So here companies adopting unfair method and or deceptive practices. So in short, unfair trade practice means doing business in unethical way to increase the profit. Let's take an example. Let's say a chips manufacturing company, a potato chips manufacturing company uses to sell 100 grams of chips packet for rupees 10. Company thought to increase profit by unethical way. Let's say instead of 100 grams chips, company started to fill 90 grams of chips and kept the same price, that is 10 rupees. Or to increase more profit, company started using low quality potatoes. So here company is adopting unfair method, or we can say companies practicing unfairly. The next thing here, unfair practices may be categorized as under. So unfair practices means the first one, false representation. The practice of making any oral or written statement or representation which falsely suggests that the goods are of particular standard, quality, quantity, grade, composition, style or model, basically making false representation in writing or oral regarding quality, trade, composition, style or model, or we can say false suggestion on particular standard, or representing second hand item as a new product, or representing the uses of goods which in real they do not have, or making misleading statement, or making false representation on warranty and guarantee regarding goods and services will all come under a false representation. These are all unfair practices. False offer of bargain price. Bargain price is supposed to be less than ordinary price, but when advertisement misleads buyers to think that they can get product at less price, then that is unfair trade practice. Then the third one is scheme offering gifts or prizes. Offering gifts by traders to create impression, but the fact is that the gift cost is already covered by the trader from the price which is paid by the consumer. And the fourth one is non-compliance with of prescribed standard. Here when trader is selling those goods that do not comply with the standard prescribed by competent authority, as if they comply with the standard in regarding to their performance, composition, content, design, construction, finishing, packing, as are necessary to prevent or reduce the risk of injury to the person using such goods, shall amount to an unfair trade practice. Hoarding, destruction, etc. Here, any practice which permits hoarding, destruction of goods, or refusal to sell goods with the intention to sell it at high price is an unfair trade practice. The next one is restrictive trade practices. So here, trade practices which is used by the trader to restrict the competition in order to make more profit or to rule on the market. Such practices are called restrictive trade practices. It is defined under section 2 subsection NN of the Consumer Protection Act 1986. Restriction trade practices means a trade practice which tend to bring about manipulation of price, condition of delivery or to affect flow of supplies in market relating to goods or services in such a manner as to impose on consumers unjustified cost or restrictions. So restrictive trade practices are those practices which have the effect of preventing or restricting competition in any manner, like obstruction of capital and resource in the stream of production, manipulation of prices, so manipulating prices by the dominant players, and the agreement falling within the scope of section 33 of the MRTP Act. So any agreement made within the association to prevent or to restrict the competition will all come under the restrictive trade practices. When a consumer is cheated in any way, either by producer or by seller, by giving bad quality of product or by charging more price for goods and services, or in other way we can say that exploiting consumers through unfair trade practices. In such case, a dissatisfied consumer can file a complaint against that producer, seller or manufacturer in the court. There are three consumer redressal agencies, mainly District Forum, State Forum and National Forum. Let us understand about District Forum. A consumer dispute redressal forum, to be known as the District Forum, established by the state government in each district of the state by notification. So this is established by the state government, provided that the state government may, if it deems fit, establish more than one district forum in a district. So here state government can also establish more than one district forum in a district. One district forum in a district. Let's move on to the next topic, composition of district forum. Here district forum consists of three members: the president, who is or has been a qualified district judge and shall be nominated by the state government. Then the next, a person who has a good knowledge in the field of education, trade, commerce or law. Then the third person is a lady social workers. So these are the three members who are consist in the district forum. Then the next point is about the powers of district forum. Subject to the other provision of this act, the district forum shall have jurisdiction to entertain complaints where the value of the goods or services and the compensation, if any claim, does not exceed rupees 20 lakhs. So here district forum has power to entertain the complaint where the value of goods or services plus compensation doesn't exceed 20 lakhs rupees. Remember this, which does not exceed rupees 20 lakhs, can file the complaint in district forum. Procedure on receipt of complaints. Once the complaint is made to district forum, the district forum will follow some procedure. So these are the procedures which are followed by the district forum when they receive complaint relating to defective goods. So the first one is when district forum receives a complaint on defective goods where the proper test is required to find out such defects. In such case, the district forum collects the sample from the complainant and directs the laboratory to perform test to know whether such goods are defective or not, and report the result or findings within 45 days of receipt of complaint. Then the next one is the district forum may ask the complainant to deposit amount as prescribed towards payment of fees to the appropriate laboratory to conduct such test. And in the third, the amount deposited by the complainant as a fees has to be remitted to the laboratory for conducting the test. Once the test is done by the laboratory, the report which is received from the laboratory shall be forwarded to the opposite party. The next procedure is, in case if the opposite party is not satisfied about the results or findings from the test laboratory, the district forum require the opposite party to submit the objection in writing in regard to the report. And the last procedure is, before giving final order, the district forum should give opportunity to both the parties to present their opinions about the report which is received by the laboratory, and on the basis of evidence or proof produced by both the parties, the court can take the decision. Then the next topic is if the complaint relates to any services. So these are the procedures when the complaint relates to the services. The first procedure is, once the copy of complaint received, the district forum directs the opposite party to give clarification, their version within period of 30 days or period granted by the district forum. But the extended period should not exceed 15 days. Then the second procedure is, after receipt of complaint, if the opposite party fails to take action within the given period of time, the district forum can proceed to settle dispute on the basis of evidence given by the complainant and opposite party. So on the basis of evidence given by both the party, the district forum can proceed to settle the consumer dispute, or on the basis of ex parte. Here ex parte means in the interest of one side only. So on the basis of ex parte is possible only when the opposite party fails to take action within the given period of time. The last procedure is where the complainant fails to appear on the date of hearing before the district forum. The district forum may either dismiss the complaint for default or decide it on merit. So the district forum may dismiss the complaint or decide it on merits. Here decide it on merits means decisions taken by the district forum on the basis of availability of facts. And next, there are two notes regarding appeal and penalties. So here appeal, if any person is not satisfied, or we can say if any party is not satisfied by an order given by the district court, then that party can appeal to the state commission or state forum within 30 days. So here the unsatisfied party can appeal to the state forum or state commission within 30 days. Penalties to trader or person who fail to comply with the order shall be punishable with imprisonment for 1 month and maximum 3 years, or fine minimum rupees 2000 to maximum 10,000. Okay, so remember this, minimum 2000 and maximum 10,000, or with both. So if any trader or person fails to act according to the order, then he can be punishable with 1 month imprisonment, or with fine, that is minimum rupees 2000 and maximum up to 10,000, or he can be punished with both.